Joint practice against the Panthers. People always ask the question, is it beneficial? It seems pretty obvious that it is beneficial. You don't want it to get out of control. There always seems to be a fight. There was a
punch thrown already.
A fight thrown in the practice today. It is interesting.
I didn't see that. Already?
Zach tweeted about it. Yeah.
They just got off the bus.
They're only doing one practice. Usually in these things, just like with Philadelphia next week, it's two. It's a little odd that they're doing the one. I wonder why. Why didn't they just go a day earlier?
I don't have a great answer other than maybe they didn't want to do 2 this week and 2 next week.
Yeah, I guess so. That's true. You don't usually do 2 joint practices.
Yeah.
So maybe they felt like they only needed the one day.
Yeah. I don't know if Carolina's doing a one next week. I don't know.
I
haven't looked.
Is Bryce Young expected to play in this game?
Yeah, Canales said their starters are playing.
Okay.
He didn't say how much, but he said our starters are playing first 2 weeks.
I'm fascinated by him going into the season to see how good he is because I think he's going to take a big jump.
You and me are on the same page.
Yeah, I'm really high on him. But I think there are a lot of benefits to this. First of all, you get sick of just messing with your own guys, and the practices are a little obviously you don't mess with the quarterbacks, but they're way more physical than when you're practicing against your own teammates.
Well, you get more out of this than you do the preseason game because the starters are going.
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah.
And it's coaches will tell you it's a controlled environment.
Yep.
So you can throw the quarterback out there and know he's not going to get in danger, whereas in a game you can't really protect him, which is part of the reason I think Dillon and Kenny may participate today, but not tomorrow.
Well, they are. Yeah.
But not tomorrow because you can't protect him in a live game, obviously.
Right.
But you can sort of put guardrails on them for this. So, yeah, it's an opportunity for your ones to go against their ones. And, of course, there's a risk for injury. There is any time you put a helmet on. But you can just control the environment a little bit more than you can in actual games. So I know this has become more and more popular with NFL teams, these joint practices, and the coaches feel like they're very beneficial. And you get a lot out of them that you don't get. If you had to grade them, they would put this over the games, which I've always said on Monday. Even before all this came out, the next 2 weeks are huge for all these Shedeur, not just Shedeur, for all these guys. The next 2 weeks are going to go a long way in determining how the season at least starts. I won't say how the whole season goes, but how the season opens.
And I want to, these are good opportunities to see, we've talked so much about the quarterbacks, but there's a lot of other rookies on this team that I think we're all interested in trying to find out how good they are.
The Browns fans are going to fall in love with Carson Schwetzinger when you see this dude play. He is a missile with a helmet. He plays with his hair on fire. He's 110 miles an hour every single play. I think he's a dude that fans are going to love this kid very quickly.
Plays like JOK, but he's bigger.
Yeah.
Noticeably bigger. And you know who's the most excited person to be having a joint practices today? DeJuan Jones. Because that means he's not lining up
have to go against
Myles Garrett all throughout
Everything
practice.
else is easier.
But in all seriousness, the premise of these joint practices is to see who you have going against someone who they're not going up against for the 50,000th time in this camp. At some point, Mason Graham versus Wyatt Teller, Joel Bitonio, and these simulated drills, you want to kill each other because you're constantly hitting each other, going up against each other, but B, you learn people's tendencies. You kind of know what to expect in certain drills. You can take half speed and go half-assed in certain situations because this isn't that important. They're focusing on something else. In these joint practices, you're trying to – it's like a real game scenario. We're going 100%. You don't want to be embarrassed. You don't want to be the person, the left tackle for Carolina today who's now saying, there's a chance that I might have some pretty terrible tape having to block Myles Garrett out. Pride comes on the line, and it's not a real game, but I do think it simulates as close to a real game as you can. And when they do the one-on-ones, and I'll go back and what happens in these one-on-ones doesn't indicate any future success or future failure. I'll go back to last year when they had the joint practice against Justin Jefferson and the Minnesota Vikings, and there were those 2 reps in the red zone of MJ completely putting the clamps on Justin Jefferson, and we were like, oh.
That told you how meaningless those are.
But obviously Jefferson went on to have an incredible season. MJ did not have a great season.
Yeah.
Those are the drills you kind of live for as a player. That's a chance to go one-on-one against their best. They say, F you, or look at me, look what I can do.
Obviously, Justin Jefferson was not taking it as seriously as MJ Emerson.
But for MJ, and I know he didn't have the season he wanted, but, that's a hell of a rep. And that's a hell of a play to have on tape that, once again, does not translate to the regular season. But you can go back and practice? Like, no, I'm saying this wrong. I'm saying this.
You're grasping for straws
No,
here.
no.
He helped build his confidence, maybe. It didn't work out, but
exactly.
yeah, in the moment, it helped build his confidence.
It could elevate you to a status mentally to where if I could do this against Justin Jefferson in a practice in a one-on-one,
right.
I should be able to carry that over into a game
He got
situation.
too cocky off of
now,
that.
it didn't work.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
situation obviously didn't pan out, but these joint practices are cool.
They
And
are.
we've
They're
learned
good
a lot
opportunities.
from
It's really a
them.
shame that the whole Judkins situation, because I really thought he would hit the ground running.
Yeah.
You know, I was expecting him to have a monster season as a rookie.
They were too.
Yeah, and now it's just like, I like the other kid, but
Samson?
the backfield just kind of feels like nothing now.
I'm excited to see Mason Graham in live drills against another team's offensive line.
And Fannin, I'm curious. Like the Browns have a lot of interesting rookies that have potential to be impact players right away. From Schlesinger, could have been Judkins, certainly Mason Graham.
They're going to start 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, I mean,
I
Fannin
think
will get his
49 is gonna have
opportunities.
the biggest impact of all the rookies from the class. Like,
What's that?
immediately. I think 49, Carson Schlesinger, I think he's going to have the biggest impact right away.
He's good. He's good. Like, well,
Yeah.
he looks good is what we should say.
I
But
mean,
you talk to real quick, you talk to anyone in Berea, and Jason,
Yeah.
I'm sure you could attest to this, they freaking love this kid.
yeah, well, Jason
like-
was just talking about it.
Like,
I mean,
they can't sing his praises loudly enough, and they had opportunities to trade out of the 33rd pick. And they
Right.
rejected those trade calls.
Yeah.
And they took an off-ball linebacker with the first pick in the second round with an offense that has holes all over because they identified Carson Schlesinger as someone they thought they could help build a defense around. And it's early
Now, they
in
don't
camp.
have a good track record of
No, they don't.
finding talent, but hopefully they'll finally get it right here. But I mean, ultimately, I expect, obviously not statistically because of the position he plays, but Mason Graham better make the biggest impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was drafted 5th overall.
Yep.
4th? 5th?
Fifth.
He better make the biggest impact.
It's just so hard to grade or to,
Right,
to
right,
watch.
yes,
Who's
yes.
watching the defensive tackle?
But when the Browns are studying the film,
Yeah.
he better be making a big impact.
Yeah.
Because he was drafted 5th.
Yeah.
Not 33rd, not 35th, 5th.
And when
You're
fans,
expected to be a superstar.
when fans go to look at the box score, you're not going to find them.
No.
So it's so hard.
Right. In terms of the box score, you might see Schlesinger with 12 tackles, and you could hang your hat on that. But, you're going to see Mason Graham maybe with like 2 tackles or 3 tackles, and you're going to be like, what the hell did we draft him for? You know?
We have to find as a society a better way, because people aren't ever going to go as a whole society, big picture. They're not going to go back and watch the tape and study the offensive line. It's just never going to happen. Defensive line, offensive line play. There has to be some sort of stat we could come up with to help quantify. In
There is.
in a box score
Pass
box
rush
score
win
way.
rate.
It's too advanced.
I mean, what simple stat can you have for this?
That's what I'm saying. We got to come up with in a society so when we come back on a Monday,
Yeah.
we can look at Mason Graham and whatever the arbitrary number is and say, oh, he had 8 of those.
Yeah.
He had a good game. He only had 2 the next week.
I
Not
think
a
if we're
good
that
game.
easy, we'd already have it.
We got to be better as a society. I'll try
Fair
to
enough,
think.
Mike.
To think of something.
You're right. I mean, I wish there was some better way to quantify how good.
Well, that was the whole birth of PFF, was it not? To try and
Yeah.
Right.
for stuff like that. Even though I think I've said many times I think PFF is fraudulent.
I don't think it's fraudulent. I think it's flawed, just like anything else. I think fraudulent's too strong. I think it has just like anything else, just like any other stat. There's strengths and weaknesses to it. But there are times where you're like, how is that possible with
Right.
those numbers? Maybe it's we're not paying close enough attention. I don't know.
I will say, like, PFF is the reason I take a second look at Isaiah Maguire. I never would take another look at
Okay, yeah,
Isaiah
right.
Maguire, right?
Right,
like,
right,
I don't know. Because all we're doing, again, it goes back
Yeah.
to this defensive end. Are they getting after the quarterback?
Yeah.
And Maguire's big strength is against
Setting
the run.
the edge, yeah.
And so that's one of those things where when PFF grades him so highly, it's like,
Yeah.
okay,
Oh.
I want to watch Isaiah Maguire on this play
Right.
because what's he doing?
Right. I don't pay any much attention to PFF in terms of the skill position players. But when it comes to defense and it comes to offensive linemen, there's not much to, unless you're going to watch every play in a game for all these other, like if I'm going to say, oh, this offensive lineman's great, well, I don't know. I'm not watching other offensive linemen on other teams. How do I know how he stacks up? So, it's not perfect,
Jason,
But-
I got a question for you real quick.
Yeah.
I was listening to Kevin Stefanski's press conference. So about a week ago, they did live tackling for the first time since he's been a head coach of this team. And he mentioned during his pre-practice press conference that this week 1 joint practice ahead of a week 1 preseason game is the first time that the Browns have done anything like this as well under his tenureship. What's just some of your thoughts on some of the new wrinkles that we have seen Kevin Stefanski's approach to going into his 5th season as the Browns head coach?
Necessary and welcome changes. I thought last year was a country club environment. There was hardly any hitting. They were not ready for the start of the season. And as I talked to guys as last season went on and when things really unraveled, some of the players were very honest with me and said the Dallas game in particular, like, oh, we knew we were screwed going into that game. We knew we were not ready for that game. And it kind of went the way that we were anticipating it to go. So you have to play football to get ready to play football. You have to practice football. You have to practice tackling in order to tackle. So, he's been here for a while now, obviously. Year 6 for him? 5, 6?
This is 6.
So, but, I've talked about it before, particularly with GMs. The longer you do something, the better you get at it. This is the first time he's ever been a head coach. So he's had 5 years now. He's tried it one way. He's evolving as a coach. He's evolving. We saw him last year give up play calling and go a different tact. And so I think that he is open to trying different things, and I think this was necessary. You have to hit. There's always an injury risk, always. It's a violent sport. You're playing a violent game. But you still have to prepare these guys for the road ahead. And last year I thought they did a poor job of preparing them. And I think they'll admit to you they did a poor job of preparing them. So get a little bit more physical this year. Tackle earlier on. Tackle here before game 1. It doesn't mean you're going to run them into the ground. We're not going back to 2-a-days with full pads, 6-hour practices or anything like that. But you've got to get these guys ready to play. And they didn't do that last year.
It's odd that we're in our montage of pictures. We have pictures of him talking to Deshaun Watson, of all people.
And Deshaun's there.
Yeah, right.
Like, now you show up.
Yeah, right.
And now
we don't
Are
have
those old pictures, or that's
that's
from this
old.
year?
That's all. That's
Yeah,
all.
that's
Well,
all,
it's
right.
from last
Yeah,
year. Yeah, we don't
That's
have
true.
new
But
Deshaun was
Deshaun's in Carolina. He went to
he went to
Carolina.
Yeah.
Why?
Couldn't be bothered last year when you were rehabbing, but now you want to be back.
That's weird. To your point, and final thought on this, one of the good things about having a coach for a long time is that if they're good, they learn from their mistakes.
Yep.
Right? And so you have an opportunity to get better and grow. And Kevin Stefanski has that opportunity now. And you're right. I mean, I thought his camps were always kind of soft, but last year, by all accounts, it was a new level of softness.
Yeah.
And so he's
And they had a lot of injuries last year early in camp. I think that's worth pointing out. And when I say the players knew they weren't ready, I think a lot of that goes back to they were installing a new offense. It was a disaster.
and they didn't trust Watson. A lot of the guys.
Yeah, I think that there was a lot of questions about
Yeah.
him. The offensive line play or the offensive line coach was not good.
Yeah.
So I just don't think that they were prepared going into the season for a variety of reasons. It wasn't just that they weren't hitting.
Right.
It's a lot deeper than that.
Sure.